Hello, it's Courtney again. Today we are going to be talking about things we can do to start learning about our own feelings and emotions. So for the younger age group, which would be the ages 7 to 12, some of the best activities can just be drawing. And so starting off with drawing what an emotion looks like. And so it can even be just sitting down with a task, and you can either think about what a specific emotion looks like, or start drawing some of the emotions that you felt that day. And it doesn't have to be you drawing a person looking like that. It doesn't have to be what a face would look like. It can just be the colors and the shapes that you think that emotion feels like and looks like. And then once you start to familiarize yourself with the idea of what those emotions are and the names of those emotions, it becomes a little bit easier later on to identify those emotions when they're happening. So here's just an example of what you can do for the drawing piece. I just drew a person and what kind of loneliness looks like and feels like. I also did one for anxiety. And so this can be really whatever you want or whatever makes sense for you. Same goes for the older age group, ages 13 to 18. Naming and acknowledging our emotions, it's easier to do it a little bit later, and then once you get a bit more familiar, then it becomes easier to, in the moment, identify and name those emotions and what it is we're feeling, and then we can deal with those emotions easier. And so to start off just as an easier approach, at the end of the day or in the afternoon or even on the weekend, just writing down what some of the most emotions that you were feeling were. And you can, I have a little example here that I'll show you where you can start to write out what it is you felt, and what kind of led to that feeling. What was the context that you felt those emotions in? And so you can start to understand what situations might lead you to feel certain ways. And so you can either do like a journal prompt, or even I used to just sit in front of my computer, open up a Word document and just start typing. And just letting, it's called free writing, but just letting your brain tell you what it wants to tell you. And so you can start with just the prompt of what emotions did you feel this day, this week, this month, what stuck out to you, and just start writing around those emotions and what kind of was there. So this here is an example I did, and this is based off the idea of a journal prompt. And so I just wrote things I felt today, and I did just one to make it a bit more simple for the example, and it was overwhelmed. And so then looking at what events led me to feel that way. So what did it look like around me that made me feel that way, that brought up those feelings? And so it's that I'm struggling with doing school online. And then looking at what is it I did about those feelings. So for the example, I wrote that I procrastinated. And then the other thing you can do is look at what are the other options that you can do with those feelings. So I wrote talking to my teacher, talking to a classmate about how they are handling online school, or asking for help. And this part is just looking at other options and creating almost a list for yourself, so you have options when in the moment you're feeling something and you go, oh yeah, this is what I can do with that feeling. So if you remember, this step of going and naming our emotions and thinking about our emotions in their context is part of how we process our emotions. So this is the step one, if you remember, the naming and acknowledging kind of piece that we're trying to focus on. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.